Super Saturday at Flushing Meadows. SCBS Sports proudly presents Super Saturday at the United States Open, the USTA National Tennis Center, Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. Record crowds. Many of those who have seen Roger Federer advance to the finals now moving over to Louis Armstrong Stadium, where Rafael Nadal, what a year, French Open winner, Wimbledon winner, Olympic gold against number 6 seed Andy Murray. Let's go to Bill McAtee and Patrick McEnroe.
What a wonderful surprise for the fans here in New York at the U.S. Open, as Rafael Nadal and Andy Murray are about ready to get underway at Louis Armstrong Stadium. A lot of these folks in attendance had probably expected to see some juniors matches, maybe doubles, junior doubles or something like that. And now they're able to have a pretty good seat for a semifinal match of the 2008 U.S. Open. Rafael Nadal serves to start the match against Andy Murray.
Yeah, I'd call this a little bit of a bonus, Bill, for these fans, and they've just been over here as they've been quickly filing into Louis Armstrong Stadium.
These two have played 5 times. Nadal has won all 5 meetings. In fact, Murray has not won a set against Rafa since they played at the Australian Open at the beginning of last year, and Murray actually led 2 sets to 1. But they played Toronto this summer. They played at Wimbledon in the quarterfinals. Nadal won both of those matches without dropping a set.
Well, Nadal has improved this part of his game so much, the ability to come forward. Excellent touch volley there. And he will continue to look to dictate with that big forehand whenever he can. He's got a shot in this match, Bill. I know last quarters at Master Series summer, I think, was big for instance in Cincinnati this summer.
Out after the U.S. Open next week. This is new territory for both players as Murray misses. Andy Murray's never been in the semifinals of a Grand Slam, and Rafa Nadal, even though he's won 4 Grand Slam titles till this year, never gotten past the quarterfinals here in New York. 30 all.
Oh, yes. It's better for Nadal on hard courts, but to me it's his positioning that's changed a lot. Stepping inside the court, taking control of the court more often, allowing himself to get shots like this. Easy around net to finish.
40-30 opening service game of the match. The ace from Nadal, and he holds to start things off. Opening service game for 21-year-old Scot Andy Murray against the #1 seed, seeded #1 at a Grand Slam for the first time, Rafael Nadal. This match at Louis Armstrong Stadium, so people still filing in and the players having to wait couple of minutes, couple of seconds rather, for them to find their seats.
And obviously these two players, Bill, would have been notified well in advance about this being a possibility today of playing this match early on the Armstrong court with the weather situation that's developed. So they would have had time to prepare this morning to warm up early.
This was actually posted on the usopen.org website last night so that the fans could know as well that it might happen.
Well, that's going to be key play for Murray right there to move forward, use that backhand, which he can take early. He's got excellent feel around the net as well.
Talk about matchups in sports. How did these two match up? Obviously, Nadal has had tremendous success against Murray.
Well, but Murray needs to play a little more aggressively with his court positioning and take the ball a bit earlier to have a real shot and do a little bit of that. This little serve and volley. And he's improved his fitness a lot, Bill, and that's been a big factor in their head-to-head matchup. The fact that Nadal can sort of wear Murray down, get him into a lot of long rallies. So what Murray wants to do is keep some points short, play aggressively, but he also knows he's done the work that if this does become a 4 or 5 set grind, he's got a better shot right now against Rafa.
Waiting to receive. Look how far behind that baseline he is.
That's surprising. I've never seen him back that far.
It's going to be 10 feet.
Oh, Nadal's serve doesn't have a lot of speed on it, but a lot of action. So he may be saying to himself, just let the ball kind of come to him, get it back in a neutral position. As soon as he hits the return, he's going to try to get up a lot closer to the baseline.
Because of the weather situation, they have not diverted the plane, so that is going to be reminiscent of the past.
That's right. Nadal, so young, he doesn't remember those days when the planes used to come every 30 seconds.
How did you deal with that? Just sort of, you didn't hear it anymore? Or?
Try to serve right when the plane's coming so your opponent can't hear the sound, you know, throw a little change up. Try to use it.
A little strategy involved.
Exactly.
15 love. Just underway. Men's semifinals, Rafael Nadal and Andy Murray. Wide.
Well, that's the kind of tennis that Murray is going to want to play. Taking the ball early, forcing Nadal to come up with a passing shot and taking time away from Rafa. Those are the kind of players that give Nadal trouble on a hard court. Players that can steal some time from Nadal with those big swings from the back of the court. Mixing things up well there, not just mixing the pace, but mixing his position on the court. He stepped in a couple of times on the backhand. This time he takes a forehand up the line, and Nadal trying to get that ball whipping cross court with the angle, mishits it. Murray again way back behind the baseline. And negate that spinning Nadal serve.
Bring up a couple of break points. Murray successful in just going off the ground from the baseline with the multiple French Open champion.
It's not just going off the ground, Bill. What he's doing is he's changing the pace. He's throwing in some slice, and he's also showed Nadal early that he's be willing to step in and take the ball early. That's a key, a new wrinkle in his game, to be able to do everything, especially to have a chance against Nadal.
2 opportunities for the early break here, the opening set. There it is. Murray with the first break of the match. He leads 2-1. The opening set of the men's semifinals at the U.S. Open.
Especially behind the players.
Andy Murray has not won a set from Rafael Nadal in about a year and a half since the Australian Open last year, but he's up a break in set number 1. It's the first time since 1992 that the top 3 players in the men's game all in the semifinals, and Murray will be number 4 when the new rankings come out on Monday. And there's an ace, first of the match for Murray. Such a tremendous record heading into the U.S. Open. He's won 8 tournaments since April.
So much for the second part of the season slump, right? He's really misfiring here early, making a lot of unforced errors.
Almost equally impressive for Nadal. He's won 54 of his last 56 matches. Uncle Tony had to make contingency plans to come over and sit here. I think everybody, the fans excited, the players a little bit off because of this change. As a small crowd, this stadium, which was the primary show court at the U.S. Open, holds roughly 10,000. It's about half full.
Well, Murray's really mixing things up beautifully. Times sneaking in the serve and volley out wide. Another one. He's got Nadal a little bit out of sorts here.
And he holds that one lead here in the opening set. Great start for Andy Murray.
Get a good serve out wide on the previous point, and this one he just locks him up with the slider right into the body.
Nadal has won 8 titles this year, Murray 3. He's the first British player to titles in a year since Mark Cox in 1975. Murray was able to use that drop shot at times effectively in his battle, and it was exactly that with Martin Del for almost 4 hours.
I mean, he's really come out with a sound game plan here, and he's executing it, changing things up, serving and volleying, standing way far back, and then all of a sudden he gets one to hit. Playing this match on his terms so far.
Let's scoot up a little bit for the second after Nadal hits the ball. Now trying to get up.
To play more of. Get the rhythm going. Be camped out behind the baseline.
10 feet back behind the baseline for that opening serve. It's almost down to the picture.
Pretty tight because it actually caught the back of the line, but it was wide.
Advantage shot.
Relief after seeing that review.
They don't get much closer than that. Deuce. Nadal already down a break in this first set. Opening set.
Welcome back to New York. Dick Enberg with our entire CBS tennis crew. The first men's semifinal won by Roger Federer, the four-time defending champion in 4 sets for Novak Djokovic. And for complete coverage of the U.S. Open and for every event on the tennis calendar, you can go to cbssports.com/tennis. Underway, first set at Armstrong, Murray and Nadal. Let's go back to Bill and PMAC.
Super Saturday at the Open, the men's semifinals. Rafael Nadal, the #1 seed, and Andy Murray. And Nadal behind in this opening set as Murray serves 3-2. Match moved here to Louis Armstrong Stadium because of the wet weather that's expected later this afternoon. You're right, Patrick. Nadal just looks out of sorts and not sharp. And it's unusual for him. He just looks flat.
Yeah, shanking a few balls. Yeah, flat's not used when describing Nadal's strokes with all his spins, nor his personality and his attitude out there, but you can be sure that he's going to work himself into this. It's going to be up to Murray to continue to play well and take it to Nadal. Serves like that will help.
30-15.
Yep.
Easy overhead. 40-15. Murray came in career high, #6 in the world, and he's going to leave ranked even higher, #4 in the world. 6 titles in his career. There's an ace, and he's played awfully well here in the.
He's going for too much. He's really throwing a lot of different wrinkles at Nadal so far.
He's been very honest about his personality, his anger on the court, and the problems that it created for him. He said, but you know, that passion, that attitude got me where I am. So is it a bad thing or just something I need to learn how to control? And I think that's what he's been trying to do.
The other thing that what I like about what Murray's doing is by standing so far back and sort of rolling a few balls, he's actually sending the message to Nadal that he's comfortable, he's confident. You know, he's not out there just going for broke immediately, which would make Nadal feel even more confident. So it's working on a couple of levels, strategically, but I think also psychologically.
Rafa trying to become the first player to win Wimbledon, the French, and the U.S. Open in the same year, since Rod Laver won the Slam back in 1969. He's already the first player since Borg in '80 to win the French and Wimbledon in the same year. .30-15, 2-4 set number one, the men's semifinal Super Saturday at the U.S. Open.
It's interesting. Just feeling that Nadal is the one who's rushing a little bit, trying to do too much.
He just has not looked comfortable since the opening ball.
Tremendous. Murray really
powerful backhand cross court,
stepping into the ball. Perfection. Gets Nadal off the baseline with that one, and then he just absolutely uncoils with that two-hander. Beautifully timed, perfect balance, accelerates through the ball.
And deuce. Murray finding the range and doing it with power.
Again, sort of lulling Nadal with this little softball return, and then, you know, because Murray's so tall and long, those high balls don't really bother him. He's given himself plenty of room behind the baseline. He can hit winners from 4 or 5 feet behind the baseline.
Chance for an insurance break here in the first set. If he gets it, he'll have the opportunity to serve for the set.
And the thing about Murray's 11 winners so far is that you don't feel like he's going for too much. They really seem like percentage plays.
Andy Murray, 5-2, set number 1 against Rafael Nadal, the number 1 seed. A stunning start here at Louis Armstrong Stadium. Andy Murray serving for the opening set. And Rafa Nadal has just come out flat in the semifinal. Because of the inclement weather expected, it was moved over here to Louis Armstrong Stadium. Because heavy rains are expected this afternoon. And Nadal still really hasn't gotten started. And Murray's playing awfully well. 123. Third ace for Murray.
Murray's only lost 1 point on his serve so far in the match. He's continuing to think, though, is Murray. You know, second serve, serves and comes in. Nadal wins this point, but if you're in the Murray camp, you're happy with that. I mean, that's at 30 love. You're up 2 breaks. Keep mixing things up. Keep Nadal guessing. Nadal will not give up on any set. I mean, I've seen this guy come back from 4 love, 5-1 down, so can't pencil it in just yet for Andy Murray. Shot has really been paying dividends for Murray. Ripping the forehand bill up the line here. Look again, the slow ball serve out wide, and he sees the opening. He just unleashes him on.
Just missed. Serve and volley, and that gets it done. A stunner here so far. 34 minutes. Murray 6-2 over Nadal the first set.
And welcome back to New York. Roger Federer has continued his dominance of the Open. 4-set semifinal win over Novak Djokovic, his 33rd straight match win here at the U.S. Open. He awaits his opponent. Tomorrow's final, will it be Andy Murray in his first ever Grand Slam semi today? And he's a set up on #1 Rafa Nadal. Say, are you missing any of the U.S. Open highlights, or are you logging on to usopen.org, presented by American Express? And now, the pursuit of perfection, presented by Lexus. First set, Andy Murray. What can you say about his forehand, his court coverage, his meticulous play and hustle? Well, you could say he played just like Rafael Nadal. Look at that backhand. And covering the court with Nadal-like speed to earn that 6-2 opening set. New ball. Brought to tee it up for set 2 over at Armstrong. Let's go back to Bill and PMAC.
Second set.
Andy Murray is back from a bathroom break. He's already done something that he wasn't able to do all year against Rafael Nadal, and that's win a set. He's never beaten Nadal, 0-5 against him. But the early advantage here in the semifinals of the 2008 U.S. Open goes to Andy Murray. Nadal serving to start set number 2. And Patrick, was that first set more of Rafa not playing well, or Murray being aggressive and forcing the issue?
Well, as usual, it was a little bit of both, Bill. I think the fact that Nadal certainly came out a little bit sluggish. Murray, what I liked about how Murray played was that I didn't feel he was forcing the issue too much. I felt he was really playing within himself, playing smart, tactical tennis. But Nadal has certainly had a chance to get himself into a rhythm, but he's not been able to do it. The other thing I feel right now with these conditions, Bill, being as heavy as it is with the humidity and the storm sort of approaching, is that I feel like Nadal's ball is not jumping as much. It's the humidity is almost keeping his spin from really being a factor, and he's not really able to get that jump on the ball that he normally gets. And a lot of balls short. And, you know, Murray can flatten the ball out a little bit better, as we've seen him do it off the forehand and backhand from the baseline. So he's able to sort of hit through the conditions. You see Nadal there, he's trying to put more spin on it than he's even used to doing, because I just don't think he's getting the normal work on each and every shot that he's used to. Watch how much he tries to really accelerate and go up and over his head here. I mean, that's his normal swing, but I just feel like he's trying to do a little bit extra. He's out of his comfort zone.
Down 15-30 here to start set number 2. Gift for Murray. 30 all.
30 all.
Ace right in the corner.
And Nadal needs a couple of cheap points. He needs something to get himself going here. I mean, he's definitely not playing with the same vigor that we're used to seeing from him.
Second ace. Fist pump from Nadal. And he holds to start set number 2.
Second set.
Crowd trying to get Rafael Nadal jump-started here, get him going after he dropped the first set to Murray 6-2. Murray already in a breakthrough year. Great hands for Murray at the net. Been a breakthrough year for him, trying to get to his first Grand Slam final. And his ranking 4 in the world. And his opponent today is the #1 seed.
And Murray has always said in the last couple of years that this is his favorite tournament. This is the tournament he thinks he's got a chance to win. Obviously at Wimbledon there's so much pressure on him with the English. And all that he's trying to do over there, a lot of expectations, the press is all over him. Spent a lot of time while he's been growing up playing, actually practicing in the U.S. Went to Spain when he was in his mid to late teens to train over there.
Nadal barely able to get a racket on it.
I think that win he had, Bill, in Wimbledon over Gasquet was 2 sets down. That really let himself know that the physical work that he'd been doing, that he talked about, really was starting to pay off. And he had a couple of wins here, obviously, that went the distance. So I just feel like he believes that he has a lot more options out there. I mean, he's always been a guy with the talent, the feel, and the ability to read a match, but now because he's physically much fitter, he can implement them match in and match out. And that's the thing he's improved, that first serve.
4 aces. win at Wimbledon with some scene. Coming from 2 sets down at center court. TV ratings were through the roof. The emotion from the fans and from Murray was just something to behold. Perhaps a little impatient. Deuce.
This is exactly what Nadal needs here to get himself a little burst of energy here.
Perfect serve.
Good pop. Right down the middle.
5 aces. Point for 1-all. There's the hold.
1 game long.
Andy Murray up a set against the #1 seed Rafael Nadal. Super Saturday at the U.S. Open men's semifinals. Murray has already had a breakthrough year. This has been his breakthrough Grand Slam, and now he's looking for a breakthrough win against a player that he's never beaten in 5 matches. Still standing way behind the baseline for the first serve from Nadal. Murray continuing to attack. Now he's talking to the chair. Steve Ulrich.
Well, this is going to be a key part of this match, I think. Nadal is trying to get some emotion going here, and if Murray can just sort of weather this little run.
Murray asked that the fans behind Nadal in the stands be still during the point. Nadal feeling was that he was always exhausted by the time the U.S. Open came around. Played so hard during really the middle part of the year, the clay court season and up through Wimbledon and summer hard court season. But to this point, he's been able to handle the fatigue factor. Of course, you throw in the Olympics. He won the gold medal in Beijing. This would be one of the great years in tennis history. He wins the French Wimbledon, the U.S. Open, and the gold medal.
Man.
But right now he's in a bit of early trouble against the Scott Murray.
There's again Murray's ability to flatten the ball out. But giving Nadal not that much to work with here. Rafa actually got this ball pretty deep, so it looked like a safe shot, but Murray again with that big wingspan takes the ball early up the line.
Still break point. Murray looking for an early break in the second set.
Good sliding serve there, and vamos from Nadal. He knows how crucial it is for him to stay with his nose in front here, stay on serve, start to try to find his range on the return. Terrible shot there. Completely out of sorts with that attempt. The swinging volley from below the net. I mean, that's a ball you take out of the air if it's up high and play the swinging volley. But when it's low under the net, you've got to take a traditional volley. That ball was at his knees. Very tough to control that.
Another break point. Murray will count the out call. Let's take a look at the chase review. So deuce calls upheld. For trying to fight his way out of trouble in this service game. Already down a set.
Ooh, that was a bad miss there from Murray. He had that lined up. Not a lot on that Nadal slice.
The storm here in the early stages of the second set. We're on serve. Well, the match has been moved over here to Louis Armstrong Stadium. We even have some celebrities who have come over from the luxury suites. Greg Norman, Chris Everett, watching Andy Murray and Nadal here on Saturday. This, of course, is the court where Chrissy won all of her U.S. Open championships. This was once the primary show court, built for the 1964 World. This was the Singer Bowl, which they ultimately, when this facility opened 30 years ago, converted into Louis Armstrong Stadium. Reconfigured it to hold approximately 10,000. And once again, hosting a semifinal match at the U.S. Open. 30-love, 1-2 second set.
Well, that serve has really worked well. Sliding it out there, pulling Nadal way out of the court. Watch the good mobility here from Murray as he gets to that. Plenty of time and pokes it into the open court.
Continuing to serve well. 6 aces now. 2-all. Nadal is leading serves, and Murray's kind of very workmanlike, just getting it done.
Nadal is he's not even at a break point in the match.
Nadal's been broken twice. Murray's had 5 looks, hasn't been able to break. He had 3 break points in this set earlier. Nadal sprinting forward.
Guy is so explosive with his movement, and even when he sees a ball that's pretty easy, he goes after it with the movement, and that makes those shots even easier. Watch how quickly he gets to that. Slightly slows down before Toddy under control. It's a little bit like that running back, isn't he? That sort of sits in the back, sees the hole, and just boom, explodes through it. And Nadal does such a job. Phil Bessie.
Almost didn't miss by me.
Up blubbing some forehand, and then sometimes he's just rolling it back deep without a lot of pace on it. This is what I talk about when I say closing off the court. Watch how Murray right there. He takes a quick couple steps, and then he takes that ball early. Nadal is not able to react in time.
30 all. And he'll get another look at a break. Again.
Down break. There again, I mean, again, taking the backhand right on top of the base. He is anticipating every move. Nadal. It's like a chess match, and he's a couple of moves ahead. Watch how, again, he steps forward, boom, cross court. How many times have you seen Nadal beaten off a ground stroke this consistently? Amazing. 21 for Murray. Oh, Nadal's really... Murray the whole match. He was in total. He could have cracked a forehand. Bad shot, bad idea, bad execution. And Nadal was there with really no trouble. He should actually put the first one away. Well, if this match turns around, Nadal ends up coming back to win it. I'll tell you, Murray's going to think long and hard about that drop shot attempt to give himself a set and a break lead.
Playing just over an hour. Extremely warm weathered by Nadal. 3-2 set in the opening set.
And welcome back to Super Saturday in New York. Earlier today, this is match point as Roger Federer racked up his 33rd consecutive U.S. Open match win, defeating Novak Djokovic in 4 sets. Federer writes his name in tomorrow's scheduled final of the 2000, where he'll aim for 5 in a row. Federer through to another final. Switching sports, fully customize your fantasy football league with Fantasy Football Commissioner. You can go to cbssports.com/fantasyfootball to try it free today. Or Rafael Nadal will meet Roger Federer.
Super Saturday at the U.S. Open men's singles semifinal. Rafael Nadal and Andy Murray in the opening set in a shocker 6-2, absolutely dominating Nadal. Murray has had 5 break points here in the second set, but so far Nadal has been able to hold him off. See a few more unforced errors creeping in now for Murray.
Well, almost like he's maybe starting to think about it a little bit. Poor footwork there. Murray didn't get down to that ball at all.
Love 15. But again, Murray able to execute, moving Nadal around court. 15 all. He's really got the range, doesn't he?
I'll tell you, he's using that serve to set things up.
Once again, 30-15.
It's been such a big weapon for him today. I mean, that wasn't a great serve there. And Nadal left it a little bit short, and Murray with that big forehand again up the line, winner.
Murray's had a great summer since his third round loss at the French. 19-3, first Grand Slam semi in the second set.
When you think maybe saves a couple on first point, what does Murray do? Comes up with 4 straight first serves. And puts the pressure right back on Nadal in his serve.
He's loving those corners.
He's loving flattening out the forehand down the line and stepping into the backhand and going cross court. And look how he's leaning forward into that. I mean, there's no indecision at all.
He had the shot he wanted. Just couldn't pull it off. 15 all.
Well, he really did. I mean, he moves around it, gets himself in position. And you would still consider that a good miss if you're in the Murray camp, because he's continuing to play this on his terms.
$30-15. Rafa Nadal, a 75-8 record on the year. 41-7 on hard court. Nadal. 40-15 now. And by the way, maybe most impressive on clay and grass combined, his record is 34-1.
The one loss coming to Juan Carlos Ferrero in Rome on the clay after he'd been beat up in the previous couple of tournaments.
Finally for Nadal, an easy service game. On serve, set number 2 at the Open.
And now, this tournament summary, sponsored by Lexus.
And on this Super Saturday, number 1 on the line in the women's final. Whoever wins it, Serena or Jankovic, becomes the women's number 1 player in the world. FedEx delivers 5 straight U.S. Open finals as he beats Novak Djokovic in 4 sets. And where were you 28 years ago, 1980? 2 sets to 1 down. John McEnroe rallies to beat Jimmy Connors in a battle that went into the night.
The semifinals of the U.S. Open. returning to Louis Armstrong Stadium because of the weather. They've moved this match between Andy Murray and Rafael Nadal over to the former primary show court here at the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. And the opening set, a surprise. It went to Andy Murray, who's never beaten Rafael Nadal. Murray's had some chances here in the second set, but we're on serve 3-4. And the winner from Nadal.
That time Nadal goes up the line with the return on the backhand. First time he's done that. Murray right back with another big serve.
He's been able to do that effectively. That's his 9th ace, 6th of this set.
You can look at that two ways, Bill. You could say, you know, Nadal's off, he's missing. How's he missing returns like that? The other way to look at it is because he knows that if he doesn't do something with the return, then Murray's going to capitalize and jump on him.
That was a frustrated expression we just saw from Nadal. And that won't help his mood any. Another ace, that's 10. Quickly 40-15. Oh, well played. Great stuff from Murray. There's a little fist pump. We're level at 4.
Continuing to use that court positioning so effectively. Again, look at him stepping inside the court. Got Nadal way behind the baseline. And you know, how often do you say this, Bill? Another easy winner. I mean, you don't usually get what look like easy winners against Nadal. Murray has 27 of them, and a lot of them have been pretty easy. He's got 27 winners, and Nadal has just 12.
Against 17 unforced errors. Cleaned it up a little bit in the second set, but the opening set was a mess. Murray staying patient. And again, Nadal serving from behind. From a defensive position. Tremendous angle.
Oh, great court coverage. He's out of court here. He goes off to the races. Nadal with a great approach. And he flicks it cross court with pace.
Rafa thought he was in good position.
Look where he is when he makes contact. Incredible shot.
Love 30. It's only the third ace for Nadal, but it comes at a big time. 30 all.
Uncle Tony loves that play. His guy, the wide serve, he gets this one a little bit earlier, and he holds that ball that split second, so Murray couldn't just go off to the races there and run directly to that side.
30 all. From love 30 down, 3 straight points for Nadal. 40-30. Took a couple of tries at it, but the point goes to Murray.
Well, again, he's taking time away from Nadal with his clean hitting and positioning on the court. Going back behind Rafa there with another forehand winner. Putting all sorts of pressure on Rafa throughout this second set on Nadal's serve.
Murray knew the instant it left his racket that it was not what he wanted.
And he knows he's a swing or two away from really opening this thing wide. The 2-set lead, the way he's been serving.
Nadal has yet to earn a break point. That time he missed. Well wide. Nadal able to hold serve. 5-4 in the second set. A huge ovation for Rafa Nadal as he came sprinting out after the change.
Ready for play.
Enough to get a break here and level this match at a set apiece. He is yet to see a break point on Murray's serve. That time the drop shot was effective. Well executed by Murray.
He's really been composed throughout this match as Murray, and he saw that Nadal was way behind the baseline because he's now got to respect the big flat forehand that Murray set up throughout the match, and that's why the drop shot works.
Quickly 30 love. Andy Murray, the Scot, 21 years old, in a Grand Slam semifinal for the first time in his career. Nadal almost helpless there. The 11th ace by Murray. We're level at 5. Rafa Nadal came into this match having won 54 of his last 56 matches and 8 of 10 tournaments.
And maybe, just maybe, Bill, some of that's catching up to him a little bit. Just doesn't quite have the same pep in the step. Again, as I said earlier, a lot of that credit has to go to Murray with the way he's playing. the line with the forehand. He knows that he's going to get something short right after this ball here, so he moves up into the court, takes this one early, and Nadal on the dead run, just constantly playing defense.
Once again behind, left 15. 15 all.
Swinging serve sets up the easy forehand.
Just jumping on the return. 30 all.
Nadal's not really anticipating all of Murray's moves, but Murray's anticipating Nadal's. I mean, he was looking for that serve wide. He was out there. Nadal didn't hit it well enough, and Murray takes advantage. He's physically and mentally crisper in this match as the youngster from Scotland.
Just firing and earning another break point.
30.
This is the 6th break point of this set for Murray.
Thank you.
Trying to get fired up.
Well, that's willpower from Nadal, hanging around in this second set, trying to just keep himself in it, hoping that he can somehow turn it around.
And that was far more like what we've seen this year from Rafa.
Well, he's had to fight in every single service game in this set. He's fought off 6 break points throughout this set. Just trying to give himself a look.
Deuce.
Interesting in this, after this point, Uncle Tony, Rafa's uncle and coach, sort of gave him some support there, clapped. You know, he started to hit the ball a little bit better in that point, but you still get the feeling that he's right on the cusp of sort of getting his game going, but he's running out of time.
Second break point. This game from Nadal.
Uncle Tony was clapping his hands, because I think he senses that his guy's starting to hit the ball with a little more authority. He has played very few points like this throughout this match. Being aggressive, taking it to Murray. If he can do that for these next 5 to 7 minutes, he could turn this match around.
Crowd is getting energized, and so is Rafael Nadal. Back to deuce. Crowd clearly on the Spaniard side. They're encouraging him, trying to bring him back into this match. Huge fan favorite here in New York. He's trying to do something special, and winning Wimbledon, the French, and the U.S. Open in the same year. It hasn't happened since 1969. Rod Laver when he won the Grand Slam.
Another grinding affair for Nadal and his serve.
It's interesting, there wasn't a lot of energy at the start from the crowd or Nadal, and gradually the atmosphere and the pace from the players has built.
Well, Nadal's finally starting to get some work on his ball that he wasn't getting throughout most of this match.
There's an ace. The fourth for Nadal for the hold. 6-5. Second set. Rafael Nadal and Andy Murray nearing the end of the second set as Louis Armstrong Stadium is filling up. The Roger Federer-Novak Djokovic match has ended, and a lot of fans making their way over here. So this will be jammed to capacity, about 10,000 people. And among those fans, John McEnroe has joined us.
Hey, it's great to be here. I mean, I was part of the crush. It is rough getting in right now. I'm telling you, there's going to be some unhappy people because they're not going to be able to accommodate all the people at Authorized. So they were running. There was like sprints going on. Both might have been threatened.
And you had no trouble getting here. You sprinted over.
It's a sweaty day in New York. We got the airplanes coming overhead. This is like going back in time.
I tell you, it brings back memories.
Nadal looked up early in the match, John, and the planes were coming over, and he looked up like, what's going on here? So he's so young, he doesn't remember those.
He wasn't born then when that happened.
Bill McAtee, John McEnroe, and Patrick McEnroe with you. Super Saturday here on CBS.
I was watching some over at the other court, and it looks like Murray's just been serving big in this match.
Been serving great, John. I mean, 67% is his first serve percentage and 12 aces.
No doubles.
And that's really the first kind of wild miss he's had. He's made some errors, has Murray, but he's played a really controlled match against Nadal, keeping Rafa guessing, mixing up some serve and volley, particularly out wide in this deuce court. Teeing off on some forehands, rolling some with no pace.
The key to keep this concentration, and here's the rumblings, and these guys probably heard that this match is the other match had ended. Get a sense, and we'll see if Murray's concentration. Those are two pretty easy misses. Now all of a sudden, this could be a whole new ball game here.
15-30. There's that big serve. He's really been able to pull that out when he's needed it.
Well, it's a sweet serve against Nadal. It's spinning away from him and forces him to go to the one hand. So he's in the driver's seat if even if the turn comes back. There's that very serve you were talking about.
Poor footwork, John, there from Nadal. He didn't move at all. The ball sort of sliding away. It started to pick up. Watch how flat-footed he gets just before contact here, and then he sort of reaches for the ball. It's rare you see Nadal not in perfect position, but that's happened often today.
You would think he'd made the adjustment by now as they head to the second set breaker, that serve is going to spin away from him, and he's got to take the extra couple steps.
Andy Murray won the opening set 6-2. Second set tiebreak now. As the #1 seed, Rafa Nadal, seeded #1 at a Grand Slam for the first time, tries to level this match at a set apiece. Super Saturday here in New York. The men's semifinals.
Taking time away from Nadal.
I'm thinking there's some pressure was taken away from Murray too, Patrick, when they decided to move this over here. And there wasn't too many people here the first set. And
Nadal was flat too.
So totally flat. So on the one hand, we're pulling for Nadal, obviously. You've got Nadal, who neither of these guys played since Wednesday, right? They're scheduled the second match, which is a bit strange. I guess it shows you how big Nadal has become, a star here. That Djokovic, who played Thursday night, and Roger, who played Thursday, were the first up.
Another ace. 13.
He's mixing up that serve so well. Look at that, 130. That's his biggest serve in the match.
So he's tossing 130 up the middle and able to slice out wide. He's making life rather miserable for Nadal.
And he's also mixing it up on the return, John. He's taking some big cuts with the forehand on second serves. He's looped a few back.
How far back he's standing, John? First serve.
It's almost like he needs this court to be bigger. He's about as far back as he can go. Of course, he does move in as Nadal is about to strike it. Nadal looked a little bit casual on this volley, as if he thought Murray was going to give up on him. He was there in plenty of time. He didn't even attempt to cover that line, so Murray knew. He just got under this ball. The point was his. That was an incredible play.
So 3-1 Murray, who is already up a set.
What's the head-to-heads? 5-0?
Yeah, 5-0.
5-0 Nadal.
3 times this year. And
he hasn't won a set for a while since that 5-setter in Australia in 07. Played this summer in Toronto on a similar surface, hard courts. Nadal won it in a tiebreak in the first set, then 6-3.
You got to think that was slower, though. This is playing into it. I think Murray likes this quicker court for his chances. Certainly in the best condition of his career.
First double.
13 aces.
He lost his first 4 to Djokovic, beat him twice in a row, Murray, over the summer. Erased that.
And you talked about the fitness, John, and we were touching on that earlier in the match. I think that's so key for Murray because now he can use all of his options. You know, he can play that softball, he can serve and volley. He knows he can stay out there if he has to. He's proved he can do that in this tournament.
Is he still working that drop shot? Has he been doing that?
He hasn't done it as much, but he's thrown it in a couple of times.
Limited success. John, you were at Wimbledon. How big was his win coming from 2 sets down in that emotionally charged atmosphere against Richard Gasquet?
It made him believed in the work he put on off the court and then feeding off more positive energy. You know, and then he learned a lesson against Nadal, and he's playing even better now. Trying to handle the nerves here to try to get this 2 sets to love lead.
They met in the quarters at Wimbledon, and Nadal won it in straight sets, 3-2 and 4.
That's just too short.
Well, I think, John, that the heavy conditions today with the humidity in the air has hurt Nadal's ball. I don't think he's getting the usual jump, the usual action on the ball, and because of that, he's spending a lot of balls short, and this is what Murray's been doing. 10th forehand winner.
No, says Murray, as the shot sails long, 4-all.
There's also that added sense of urgency for both guys, not knowing when this the rain is going to come. You know, it's in the forecast. It's in a way it's surprising it hasn't come already.
Continuing to try to get Rafael Nadal into this match.
I wonder if Nadal would be better served here, Patrick, by stepping in closer off and block a return instead of waiting on it, because he's proven he can do that. He won Wimbledon. He
was trying to do that a little bit earlier here, and he really hasn't found his timing. He's been much better the last 15 minutes, and he's been in the whole match. You hit it, John. Can Murray handle the tension here?
And by that much.
Did you see how high that ball kicked up? I mean, that's what you expect from Nadal's ball. And this got up over his head. A second serve. Surprised Nadal. He even looked at his uncle and said, wait a minute, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Exactly.
By the way, at Wimbledon, that would have gone over. Loose nets there, very tight here. 5-all.
He's about as frustrated as I've seen him on a tennis court. He's put out so much this year.
Huge point here.
And again, he's not in good enough position. And to give Murray credit for mixing things up, but Nadal is just struggling.
Set point for Murray now. 2 sets to love lead.
Wins the set in the tiebreak, and now he leads the #1 seed by 2 sets. Super Saturday at the Open. Back to New York here on CBS in a moment.
Seats, please. Thank you. Third set.
Well, a stunning start to this match. Semifinal encounter between Rafael Nadal and Andy Murray, and it's the Scot who's up 2 sets against the #1 seed.
Ready for play.
And it was Nadal who blinked there late in that tiebreak. He's the guy that wasn't able to come up with anything special at all. And Murray, who's in his first Grand Slam semi, looks poised to play in the final against a guy by the name of Roger Federer, who's looking to go for 5 in a row. Believe it or not, he's got a winning record, 2-1 over Federer, Murray.
What do you think?
Both of these players, excuse me, Patrick, have winning records.
Who do you think he'd rather play? I know you can ask
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
Who do you think he'd rather play?
I don't even need to finish my sentence with my brother here.
Both have winning records against Federer.
You know the third guy too, right, John? Who's got the winning record?
Over
Played him at Wimbledon.
It's kind of a trick question, but guy by the name of Dominic Herbati. Believe it or not, yeah, he was 2-0.
Right, because I did that match.
Then he played him at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
You remember that moment toward the end of the match that he was, they're friends, obviously. And Herbati went and sat beside Roger during a change. Said, I just want to hang out with you for a little while.
Do you mind if you let me win a few more games? I'm getting paid by the minute.
No, thanks.
15 all. Opening game of the third set. Murray's up 2 sets.
Well, you got Nadal already, who's going to be finished #1. It's already won the French, won Wimbledon, won the Olympics. If this guy can dig out of this at 2-love down, you've got to call this one of the all-time efforts to pull out of this at this stage.
Missed. Steve Ulrich encouraging Murray not to challenge it.
And Nadal will have his first break point.
That is truly amazing that it's taken him this long.
Start his comeback from 2 sets down. A break to start set #3. Rafael Nadal after a break here to start set #3.
He's the only guy I've ever seen who gets down 2 sets and wins the first game of the third, and he's already pumping his fist like he's on his way back.
Let's get this thing started.
2006 Wimbledon, 2 sets down to Kendrick. Hold serve. He's going crazy.
Remember, he lost that first set in the first final against Federer, 6-0. Won the first game of the second set, sprinted to the sideline.
You gotta love him.
Well, you know, mentally he's going to try. The question I have now is physically, does he have enough in the tank? And you made the point, John, about the rain. He may be hoping for some rain. If the rain comes, he could come back tomorrow, maybe get a little more rest.
Give Murray a night to think about things as well.
That's true. Djokovic late in his match with Roger looked like he was rushing to make sure that
got it over with.
Got it over. Didn't want to dig deep.
This has already been a successful U.S. Open for Andy Murray. His most successful Grand Slam ever, getting to the semifinals.
You can make that argument for Nadal. This is his best effort.
Never had gotten past the quarterfinals here, although he's won 5 Grand Slam titles.
he's going to stop playing and challenge it. He was out of the point, so he was willing to take that chance there.
Chase review.
Crowd gotten very quiet in anticipation of this review here, and it looks to be out. Yes. I wonder the speed. I'm looking at this court. Not a lot of matches recently been played here, but I'll tell you, it looks like it's pretty quick out there, which would suit Murray.
Well, it's helped him a lot on the serve too. That's a good percentage. He's been mixing it, winning 3 points. That's the shot that was really working earlier in the match for Murray. Stepping in with the two-hander, taking it early, flattening it out.
He's got to be frustrated, Patrick, that he let that first game, lose serve for the first time when he really had a chance to put the hammer down on Nadal.
Came in, did Murray, but couldn't do anything with it, and Nadal made him pay.
Well, he sort of got caught right there, Murray, and he tried to play the drop off a half volley. A very tough shot. Nadal was there plenty of time.
Love 2, third set.
Part of the problem with allowing Nadal to get an early break in this set is it sort of frees up Nadal. Now he can take some chances. He's up a break. He can start to swing away a little more. And he can, even though he's down 2 sets, at least for a minute or two, Nadal can relax.
15 all.
I'd still like to see him step in closer and cut off that angle that Murray's used effectively there. And if it goes up the middle, just block it back, which I saw him do numerous times at Wimbledon and Queens, the warm-up tournament.
Which he also won. 15 aces now for Murray.
Murray's got quite a bit more sting on his serve than Nadal in this match.
Good service game from Murray. We're in the third set of the men's semifinals at the U.S. Open. We're a little off Broadway today at Louis Armstrong Stadium, but we've had all the drama you could want in this men's semifinal match between Rafael Nadal and Andy Murray. Nadal serving up a break. He's down 2 sets, though. 2-1 in the third.
Murray is moving, despite missing that forehand, exceptionally well out there. He's like a cat.
He's been so controlled in this match, John. He's come out with a game plan right from the start. He's executed. He's made some mistakes, but for the most part, I think tactically he's really been spot on in this.
He's really, to me, befuddled Nadal from what I've seen, in the sense that he's so far back on that first serve. Nadal's been sort of forced to just spin his serve because he doesn't feel like he can get it by him. He's not really comfortable serving and volleying. And so he's actually, you would think, with how far back Murray, he's got to be 10 feet beyond the baseline easily.
John, is that a tactic you've seen people use against Nadal much?
No, I haven't. But I've seen Murray more frequently, more often recently, start to use this tactic. And I think that's because he believes that in his quickness now and his conditioning. Nadal has to be willing to move forward, as he did there.
And I think also it gives Murray a better swing on the ball for the most part, because Nadal's got all that spin, all that action. You're right, he doesn't have enough pace to get it by you, but standing that far back gives him a little more time to handle the spin.
And he's a better server than he was a couple of years ago, but I saw Usually do it. You know, there's guys that have used that tactic, but since he's gotten a better serve, it's not as easy to pull off.
And then he steps in on the second serve return and takes some time away. So
it's good, smart game plan for sure. Hitting it flatter doesn't give Nadal the time. Will he slow down physically? You know, that could cost him the match. It really will be a great test of how fit he is to be able to get over the hump and get this done.
As you've watched Murray's development, how has his game evolved to this point?
Well, his serve's bigger, and no doubt about it. He's still, he says himself, he's got to work more in the second serve. And the other part is his conditioning. You know, he early in his career cramped after a couple sets in bigger matches, and he's overcome that. He's fed off the fact, you know, he likes to talk about it, and who wouldn't?
He likes to show off his biceps too.
We'll be seeing that for sure.
That's a second double,
and that would be quite an effort if he could even be in the same league as Rafa in the guns department, in the biceps.
Show us both of them. Just missed.
He's lost his edge a bit here, though, and he's maybe relaxed because he was so happy to get that second set. And it's like Patrick said, this guy Nadal, every point he plays hard. It's 2 hours in, and Nadal has, you know, he's in big trouble, obviously. But you sense that if he sees Murray start to slow down a little bit, especially physically, that he'll start playing better.
I mean, his energy level is going to pick up. It's almost like he's been fighting himself, trying to find a way to get physically feel better. You know, mentally he's always going to be there.
I don't know when the USA told these guys they were going to move to the other court, or whether last night they said it was a possibility, but that's a pretty abrupt move. When originally, I think the first semi goes on at 1-ish, so you think at 4 o'clock, then all of a sudden you say, okay, they changed to 11, so that means keep an eye on things, and then they say, hey, by the way, you're going on at 12:30.
I think they let him know well before last night.
Last night?
Yeah.
Okay. It's coming from someone who works for the USA.
Exactly. Little information there.
Oh, Murray, that was a wicked angle. Won him the point.
Not only was it a wicked angle, it seemed to have something on it. They're totally surprised Nadal here, because he had the ball well behind it, never caught up to it. He's got some great hands, Murray. He can do virtually anything with that ball. That's why when I first saw him, you said this guy is the potential to win Grand Slams. It's something you can't teach. It's one of these just gifts from up above. The other part he's worked on, you know, the serve, the conditioning, learning how to be a professional.
Well, getting back to his emotional outbursts, he said, you know, because I asked him specifically about that, and he said, you know,
why did you ask that?
It can be a problem, but he said, maybe without it, I wouldn't be where I am now. And there's another ace. Murray serving awfully well. 3-2. Nadal up a break in the third. We're back in rainy New York. World number one, Rafael Nadal, in some unexpected trouble in his U.S. Open semifinal match with Andy Murray. They will resume play tomorrow afternoon at 4:30 Eastern here on CBS. Bill McAtee back with Patrick McEnroe. And Patrick, does this rain delay help Rafa to sort of regroup?
I think it does. I mean, I think it'll be cooler tomorrow. The ball will be moving a bit more. I think that hurt Rafa today. The early start, I think, flustered him a bit. And I think for Andy Murray, now he's got to think about it. I mean, he's got a two-set lead, obviously, which you like. But he's never been in this position before. And then moving back to the big house, to Ash Stadium, I think edge for Rafa to get back into this.
What was working early for Murray?
Well, he was taking the to Nadal. He was taking the ball early. He was serving well. He came out with a game plan that I think really flustered Nadal in this match. And I think Rafa, quite honestly, was a little bit flat. It's been a long year, but I think now he gets a chance to regroup. He can start later in the day, which he's used to, and I think you'll see a different Nadal. So it'll be up to Murray to try to close him out.
But he'll have to come from 2 sets down to come back in the match and make the final. Well, earlier on this Super Saturday, Roger Federer battled Novak Djokovic in their semifinal match, and Roger sort of looked like the old Roger Federer.
Nice to see, because look, he struggled throughout this tournament despite getting to the semis. And look at this shot. I mean, only Federer can come up with that. The slice lob from 10 feet behind the baseline for a lob winner. And Djokovic got himself back into the match in the second set, but Federer turned up the heat in a big way in the fourth set. He looked crisp, he moved well, and certainly a very confident Roger Federer to get back to the final.
And after the match, Roger visited with Dick and Mary in our CBS broadcast booth.
Congratulations, Roger. You've reached the destination, the finals of the U.S. Open, 33 in a row. Now what?
Yes, excitement. You know, I'm very happy to have played well so far in the tournament, you know, but like you said, there's one more match to go, and we'll see who it is. You know, we don't know yet. You know, it's a pity there was rain, but from my side, I'm very happy with my match today.
Roger, against such a good opponent, you seem more relaxed, you know, less tension in your body. You served 20 aces. How did you pull that together? After 5 rounds, you're playing your best tennis?
Well, I mean, that's usually what really happened the last few years, that I always start to play my best, you know, sort of quarterfinal, semi-final stages, and usually saved it, you know, for the finals, you know. Lately, that hasn't happened because Rafa's been playing very, very well, you know, in Wimbledon and in Paris, you know, anyway, the last few years over there. But, you know, here at the Open, it always seemed to click once I reached the quarters or semi-final stages, and it happened again today, so it was a huge win for me.
Roger, you're always so cool and smooth on the court, and your fluid game and your personality to match. But you've been different this 2 weeks in New York. You've shown much more feeling and animation.
Yeah, well, I had to push myself, you know, because it's been a bit of a struggle on the hard courts for me this season. You know, didn't play that well in Indian Wells or Miami, didn't play that well in Toronto and, you know, Cincinnati. So, I mean, it's just been sort of difficult for me, you know, but that's maybe one of the reasons also I came in was the Olympic gold medal, you know, in doubles, and I was really just in a great spirit, and I had some tough matches against opponents who have lost to in the past, and then I had the 5-setter for the first time really out on center court, and then those matches, you know, make you emotional, and so it was a fun 2 weeks so far.
How much fun is it that you're on through? You know, the rain now is screwing up the other men's semi, and how aware were you, how cognizant were you of the fact that the rain was coming?
Well, it started to drizzle almost, you know, at 30 love in my last game, so I sort of tried to hurry up and get out of the rain. But look, I'm not happy that they can't finish, because I really hope that they can finish tonight.
You want to play tomorrow?
Well, I mean, I don't care if I play tomorrow or Monday, but I just want it to be fair for both players. You know, not that I have more rest than them, because I don't want it to come down on that for a U.S. Open final, you know. But that's a little bit the problem we have here at the U.S. Open if you play Saturday and Sunday, semifinals and finals. But it's been like this for many years. So all I hope is really that I can go out there today and maybe finish the match. But we'll see what happens. But I wish them the best.
No one's been better at that turnaround than you have the last 5 years.
What's that?
Playing back-to-back matches.
Oh yeah, exactly. I know. I know what it
past.
takes. You know, I can now put my legs up and watch the other guys battle it out. You know, if they can hopefully play. But otherwise, we'll be back tomorrow or on Monday. I mean, it's okay.
A couple of words have been used commonly to express your season. One is Federer's human, and the other is he vulnerable. Have you been bothered by that?
I mean, a little bit, you know, I guess in sports very quickly, you know, respect gets lost a little bit for everything I have achieved, I think, the last 5 years, really. I mean, I've had a fantastic career, you know, and you lose a few matches, and, you know, some don't even believe you that you were sick and stuff like that, and that can sort of make a little bit disappointed for all the time and effort you put into, you know, giving the media a lot of, you know, time really. So I was a little bit disappointed, but I'm not the type, you know, who has to prove myself in any way. I know that if I work hard, if things go, you know, my way, I can again play my best. And I've showed it this year in Grand Slams. I've been in 1 semis, 3 finals now, and I still have a chance to win the US Open. So the season hasn't been that bad like people have been talking about.
One thing we know about Roger, whether you play in the finals tomorrow or on Monday, this New York crowd is ready to cheer your effort. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they've been great. Thank you very much.
Roger Federer, and it's interesting, he's got 33 straight match wins now here in New York. A little bit of home cooking for him here, but he has not won a tournament all year on a hard court.
Yeah, so I mean, you got to expect that, you know, the media is going to get on him a little bit, but right. Roger's a class act, and look, we've extolled how great he's been, and he, look, for him, he struggled this year. I mean, you can't get away from that, but he's right. He's back in the U.S. Open final. He's been in 2 other major finals, played maybe the best match of all time in Wimbledon, and he's got a chance to make this a great year for him if he can win the U.S. Open. He set the bar extremely high, but what I'm glad to see is to see him showing that emotion, showing how much he cares. We saw that from Pete Sampras at the end of his career. We're not near the end of Federer's career, but it's nice to see that he's got that emotion and that he's got that intensity, how badly he wants to win this thing.
And how much he appreciates the opportunity being in this spot.
And he loves it. I mean, he loves the history of the game. That's one of the reasons why, you know, we in the tennis world have so much respect for him, because he does respect the history of the game. He does give his time to the press and do all these things. And I think he's been challenged by the young guys coming up now. Nadal surpassed him, and we'll find a lot about Roger Federer, not just here at the U.S. Open, but in the next couple of years. Can he get back to #1? Can he break Pete Sampras' record? Remember last year at this time, it was a foregone conclusion.
That would happen this year.
That would happen, and he hasn't won one, so he's still 2 away from tying the great Pete Sampras. And judging by the way he's looking here, looks like he's going to be able to get it done.
All right, Patrick. Up next, Serena Williams is rounding into championship form. We'll show you some of her semifinal match against Dinara Safina when we continue at the U.S. Open on CBS right after this.
The U.S. Open Junior title at 11.
Forehand, forget this racket. The string didn't break. He just said, this has got to be just a pathetic frame if I can't hit that forehand in.
He's going to get it restrung. He handed it to the ball kid, who knew immediately that Rafa wanted that one back as quickly as possible.
Save the break point to open this 4th set.
Yes, slow motion shows an important tactical error that Andy Murray made to drop that final set. He stays very far back on his return, but here he didn't take more of the court. He stayed behind, and then he got behind in the rally, and Nadal took great advantage. So he's got to, as much as he allows himself to hang back on the return, then he's got to gain the court again. Because what he's done so well is rely on his good movement and his timing to nullify a lot of the spins off of Nadal's strokes. Take him early enough.
He's much more positive in general, though, out there on the court. He used to just be firing his coaches during the match. You see here that this is by far his best ever result.
Not only here, but in a major event, semifinal.
Nadal can normally hurt opponents with that forehand that kicks up high to the backhand, and Murray at 6'3" handles that well.
Combination of backhands from Murray, one of them one-handed. A slider down the line that allowed him to this one, where he just releases it, sends it nice and deep, and there, bang, curls that one cross-court with both hands. And to have the facility, like Mats Wilander developed, to be able to go from 1 to 2 like that, to go from precision and length of shot to just outright power.
That's an imposing statistic. Twice as many winners, 52 for Murray, 26 Nadal.
Again, Dick, this is always going to be a tough one for Nadal to win, not just because it's the end of the season and he normally has very long front-loaded seasons in his year, but this is a very quick court for him. All the stuff that gets rewarded on the slipperier surfaces and the slower surfaces, and it's taken away by players who can move as well as Murray, who can hit hard and flat.
First of all, there are not too many guys that move like him. I mean, be clear there. Very few.
Well constructed by Nadal.
And it just shows you how good he's got to play to even win points against Murray. He's throwing the kitchen sink at him, and Murray is just so sharp. That's a good effort there.
This hard court gives every player better traction to move on. And that's not necessarily something that's any good for Rafa Nadal's knees. He tapes them up now before every match, trying to fight off tendonitis. This is a hard surface for him to move on. Most players like this stuff more than anything. Americans especially.
Sir, you mentioned the front-loaded season for Nadal. From the U.S. Open last year all the way to April of this year, 8 months, he didn't win a title. Then
right.
Since April, he's won 8. Including the French, Wimbledon, and Beijing gold. Comes 2 break points for Murray. 15-30.
He's just a bit, I mean, it's hard to even say this, maybe people won't believe me, but intimidated by the fact that Murray just does not seem at all, even like he at all overwhelmed by the shots of Nadal. The forehand doesn't see it. As a matter of fact, he likes it. It gets right into his strike zone. And he's softballing Nadal at times. He's giving him these different looks. It just is flummoxing him out there.
One save. The man who has won 4 consecutive U.S. Open titles, Roger Federer, defeating Novak Djokovic in 4 sets yesterday before the rains arrived. So Federer goes for 5 in a row tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern time against the winner of this.
I bet you Roger could be watching this now thinking, man, I don't have to hit outright winners now. Maybe I should, you know, throw this Nadal guy a couple different looks if I play him. And if I play Murray, I'm going to try to give off the air like I did to Djokovic last year when it'll be his first time in a final, and I could use my experience to get through. So he's got to be feeling pretty good about things right now with this day off. Definitely tighten up Murray there on that return because he had been hitting that so well, but not on that break point. He gets a little extra time because he's got wind behind him, so he can just sort of wait on another shot. He would have thought this point would have been over. Here, Nadal pushed that volley back to him, but he just sort of waited for the moment to hit a bigger shot. He didn't even have to go for an outright winner.
Very impressive again today, as Murray was before the rains yesterday. Another break point.
His bread and butter, so you know that he's definitely sensing that this could be the turning point for him to win this thing.
hasn't broken Nadal since the first set and has had 10 chances.
The first set was over in about half an hour yesterday. That's why Nadal finds himself in this precarious position.
They played a total over the 2 days, 2 hours and 43 minutes.
It's also getting a little windy out there, which that makes it tougher to step in and be as aggressive.
And another breaker for Murray, his 4th in this game.
He's using the speed of the court so well. As Murray pointed out, this is the fastest court of the 4 majors. And it looks like, to me, Murray's hitting the ball harder than Nadal. Through the... And it's blowing Nadal's mind, to be quite honest. And he's right on the edge. I mean, he is beatable right here for Murray. His best bet is he just chokes. That's at the moment. You know, he should have broken already, because this is if you saw him play that first set and even into the second, he was just crushing that second serve, but now he's starting to guide it. That clearly tight.
Only 85 miles an hour that last serve. Murray dumping it in the net. A long tense 3-deuce game. If you isolate Murray's movement, it's fantastic. How well he's able to cut balls off and take it and hit it where he wants to either get himself back in a point or get ahead.
How much does he remind you, John, of the Slovak Miloslav Mečír, who was a finalist here one year and moved that quietly, that sweetly?
You know, it's a good comparison, Murray, but with power.
With power.
With power.
And with a good serve.
True.
Which Mečír always lacked. He was nicknamed Il Gattone, the big cat, for how he moved, and that's how he was moving. Look at that.
And again, Nadal having to dig deep just to earn a point as Murray making him play under pressure. 5 break points saved in this game by Nadal.
It doesn't look like he even tries to cut off that lefty serve. He's got so much confidence in his backhand, but that's just too good. Credit Nadal there for hitting a couple of tough shots. This is a guy that was supposedly only could play on clay a couple years ago. Look at this guy now. Wimbledon champion. Serving and volleying. Look at that shot. That's where that upper body work pays off. He could put enough on that to surprise Nadal. Nadal moves in. He surely didn't think with the one-handed backhand that it floated. Maybe he thought it was going to go wide, but that was a bad decision to let that go way in.
He saved 5, but here's the 6th chance for Murray to grab the lead in the 4th set. Almost 9-minute game.
Nadal's got to be thinking, why did I tell this guy to move to Spain?
Stay in Scotland, you'll love the rain. Starting to get frustrated.
Yeah.
Murray.
Important for him. He's been known to get very negative and down on himself, and this is where he's got to be careful here because he does have that wind I was talking about, but he started guiding the ball on all these break points.
6 break points, 5 deuces. This is the 6th, make it 15th point of the game.
Just the way he sets Nadal up, he hit, I don't want to say a moon ball, but like a semi-softball shot. And then all of a sudden he stands here after hitting one big shot and follows that up with a ball that just gets by him. I mean, he's so awesome Nadal right now. Incredible effort by Murray.
Break point number 7.
He just can't get the break. This guy Nadal, he goes to the bitter end. I mean, it's why it's so great to have a guy like this around our sport. All these matches he's played, he's got to go play Davis Cup in 10 days where they'll expect him to win 2 matches without a thought against the Americans. The guy's got, shoulder hurts, his knees, as Mary talked about, taped all year long. It beats so many players would say this is, this guy's too good and would find a way not to hang in there, not him.
Took 17 points over 12 minutes for Nadal to finally arrive at a game point. Seventh deuce. Game now 13 minutes. First set yesterday was only twice that amount.
There's such a murmur through the crowd right now. These people know that this game will very likely decide whether this match goes 5 or not. And they're hoping for 5. And many of them are hoping that Rafa Nadal gets to play Roger Federer, the 4-time champion, here in tomorrow night's final.
20th point of the game.
Oh my! What a return! Yeah, try that at home. You got a lefty spinning it away from you, and you've got 2 hands. So you got to see it coming. You got to time it well enough to be able to get there, and then put something on it and just catch just inside both lines.
He starts with that deep position, angles to the ball.
He angles forward at moves forward at an angle, which is you have to do that.
It's almost as though Nadal should ignore the stance, the positioning of Murray, because it's deceptive. He's making Nadal feel like there's no good place to aim, that everything will get covered, and I think it's disturbing him too much. Because in fact Murray does move in.
Advantage to Nadal.
Here comes the 22nd point of this marathon game. Fans reacting as if this were match point. 15-minute game. Oh my, what a survival. There are games where you save serve, and then there are games where you really save serve.
Well, where you save the semis. Where he might have saved the match right there for himself.
That was to make it 1-all in the fourth.
Thank you. 22 points, and finally Nadal holds serve. See how that impacts both players, especially Murray, who started this late afternoon resumption of the semifinal in command and played very well in that third set, only to fall 6-4. He was down a break to start. And now a couple of errors from Murray. Love 30 situation.
So often when you lose a game like that, you've had 7 break points and played so many good shots, and you have a hard time about that. But that's obviously what he needs to do, and he hasn't done these first 2 points. This is where you pay the price for this. Is first semi in a slam.
Love 40, 3 break points, Nadal. What a reversal.
From the longest game to the shortest, perhaps.
Nadal's only had, do you see that? This is only, the whole match is 3rd break point, which is unheard of for him. That's what you call a serious blown chance for Murray these last couple games.
Nadal breaks, takes the lead in the 4th. Our open coverage continues after this message and a word from your local station. Billie Jean King, she only has her name on the house, on the whole
we are guests
complex. Here. Roger Federer's father doing a little scouting here on the late Sunday afternoon. Roger goes for 5 in a row tomorrow at 5 o'clock here in New York. Nadal up a break now in the 4th. After a 15-minute game in which he survived 7 break points, he comes back in less than a minute to earn the break of serve of Andy Murray.
System ready?
This has been a challenge, so the chase review. Fault. That first serve was called an ace, but the review showed it was out, and the second double for Nadal. William Murray, the father of Andy, he and Andy's mother divorced when Andy was 9. Saw Judy at every match at Wimbledon. Don't always see William.
You see there, Nadal, that's surprising to see what he went through serving the last time, then break it love, and he's played a couple weak points here. You got to remember, when that wind's behind you, the ball's going to sit up, and you got to make sure that keep your feet in proper position. You may have to make some very quick moves. On the other hand, when you're against the wind, you got to make sure you finish your shot. And if you're going to aim down the line, you better play it with really give yourself a little safety margin, I think, especially because these gusts of wind are coming up. Murray mentally is slipping a little here. These last couple games, it's cost him big time. See, you saw the wind just pull that way off the court. I mean, that's a 100-mile-an-hour serve, but it's just the right play for Nadal there, and to move in behind it, because the moment he sees Murray hitting a one-handed backhand, he knows it's not going to go by him at least. Very unlikely that would happen.
for 3-1.
40.
Number 7 for Rafa, who's had a sensational few months. The Chase review showing on the line for the ace. 54-2. Lost only 2 of his last 56 matches. Nadal. He holds for 3-1. Well, just when you thought, beautiful day. He'll cover some 8 U.S. Open Tennis Championships provided by DirecTV. 3-hour match over 2 days. Just after 5:30 in the evening in New York.
Nadal is still making adjustments to the wind, to the time of day, to the conditions. He's just sent off another racket that with an unbroken string. Just handed another one to the ball kid, the one he'd been using to get restrung. To say he acts in a professional manner is an understatement.
Murray has lost it. You know, it's mentally. I mean, you can feel it even up here. His energy level just is sapped, and his concentration is slipped away from him. And he's almost as if he's going to have to face up to the preparing for a 5th set. You know, he's making some desperate moves. He's spinning serves and, you know, serving in volume. And he's going to have to get lucky to get back in this set now.
Girl in red is his 21-year-old girlfriend, Kim Sears. Her dad, a tennis pro, and mother, Judy, there in the pink.
What he should tell him, this hold, he's only down 1 break 3-2. He can get back onto this side where he has a better chance of breaking.
Wind affect that one, or
I think the wind a bit. I mean, this court is not slow, as we've said. A medium-pace court, skids. This is essential for Murray if he's going to win the set to hold here.
Going to challenge the out call.
Far sideline.
I don't think they've got a whole lot of hope, and he's going to get this one right.
Chase review.
Maybe give him a little more time to regroup here now that he's down 40-30. Try to hang in this game. A game at love 30, it looked like he was going to win.
And that's a tough hold for Andy Murray. He was down love 30. 3-2. Nadal up a break in the 4th. Welcome back to Arthur Ashe Stadium Court. USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center, the men's semifinal on this beautiful Sunday late afternoon, early evening. And Rafael Nadal down the first 2 sets. Play resumed today. Took the 3rd 6-4. Leads 3-2 here in the 4th. Nadal defeated Roger Federer in the French Open for his 4th in a row, and then upset Federer at Wimbledon. And he, should he win today, would face Federer again tomorrow for the U.S. Open title. And it's interesting here that match will be at 5 o'clock. So at 5 o'clock, Federer's out there practicing, working in the conditions. Yeah. Sun, what all.
You've done pretty well the last couple years. If it's considered a dismal year, you've been in 3 finals and a semi.
The atmosphere will be a little different tomorrow night. What he's practicing with. All these people watching this bonus semi-final on Arthur Ashe today. The day when you get the women's doubles final and the men's final. You don't get this.
You've heard the cheers for Nadal today. They've been just as loud for Federer in his matches throughout these 2 weeks, and of course fans can't blame fans after what happened at Wimbledon, that epic final, for wanting the same here to decide the U.S. Open championship.
Murray's comfortable hitting the ball from way back, but he's also comfortable taking the ball early and improvising and finding angles like he did there. He's going to be rather frustrated if he doesn't get this break back, because he knows how good a chance it is right here on this side. He had 7 break points the last time Nadal served from that end and didn't get it done, and then dumped his serve at love. There's that angle he used the last point and the speed to cut that Nadal shot off. Get back to 30-all.
Talked about taking the ball early. Andy Murray, his idol growing up was Andre Agassi. He said, I wanted to be just like him. And a couple, 3 years ago at Queens, he had a chance to hit with Agassi. He said it was just such a thrill. He could hardly keep his heart in his chest just being on the same court with Agassi.
He's showing signs of frustration because that was not that difficult return there. He's missed too many of those in this set.
Wins another long rally, Andy Murray. For a big, tall, lanky athlete, he does have a fluid movement. When Brad Gilbert was his coach, he even took him up to the Oakland area and had him work some sprints.
With Michael Johnson.
Yeah, the Olympic champion. Yeah.
Exactly. So Johnson said, hey, this guy, he's got some pretty good form.
He maneuvered his opponent Murray and then couldn't deliver the dropper.
Well, I'll tell you why he missed it is because Murray's so fast. You know, he overdid it. Credit Murray there, scrambling. He looked out of the point here. And he's ready to start moving back in the court. Nadal saw that and tried to cut it too close. And here's Murray's chance to break.
Oh, for the last 15 chances. What a drought for Murray after he converted 2 break points in the opening set. And there it is. Andy Murray back even in the 4th. 3 games all.
It's a roller coaster, just this set alone. Murray looked for sure like he was headed for a 2 or 3 love lead. Then he got down maybe 2 breaks. Now we're level at 3.
Serena Williams goes for a 3rd U.S. Open title tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern. 6 out in the West. Williams will be favored against Jelena Jankovic, the 22-year-old Serb who is in her first ever major final.
I think that Murray caught himself just in the nick of time at 1-3, love 30 down. He thought he pulled it together. He thought, you know, if I get the holds, I can get back in this, and that is exactly what happened. Some good mental fortitude there.
And 2 quick, easy points for Murray.
And that's some real good signs of maturity. Signs that he could go all the way in a slam, that he was able to pull out of that in the nick of time.
And just as Murray was broken after that long second game when Nadal saved 7 break points. Now after breaking Nadal, Murray running to a quick 40-love lead. Tries to secure the break back. Look at that.
Excuse me.
CBS Sports coverage of the U.S. Open continues after this message and a word from your local station.
Back and then holding easily, so it's Nadal 3-4 in the fourth, down 2-1. That bludgeoning forehand of Nadal's at work there.
He'd lost 9 of the last 10 points. Nadal's got to know that he cannot be reactive anymore to Murray. He's got to make this happen. He's got to anticipate all the different moves and spins and softballs and angles of Murray and go after them the way Murray has gone after his offensive game.
Just proof right there that Murray can do anything with the ball. I mean, he pushed the return, he just crushed the ground stroke, and it looked like he was going to hit this, and he just knifed it. It stayed skidded and stayed low. It's just a beautiful approach shot.
And it looked as if he was in perfect position to volley had that ball cleared the net. .58 winners to 31 to Murray. And another winner produced from that backhand wing.
And normally Nadal feels like he can hit that forehand with a lot of spin, and that he can, at the very least, not put him in a defensive position. The problem was it's too short. And Murray's got great timing and likes it up high, and just took it right up the line for a winner.
From Murray.
That's exactly what it was. He was doing what Nadal does to his opponents so often, allowing them to beat themselves. And here's his chance to break.
Break point here, and a chance to serve for the finals for Andy Murray. That one into the wind, but it carried long.
I think he's surprised it did go long, Dick, because that ball would sit on for him well inside that line. Bit surprised that it missed it by that much.
16th breakpoint save by Nadal. Murray 3 for 19. He hits the ball so cleanly it surprises you when he mishits that forehand.
He's never been 2 games away from a Grand Slam final before. He's never had to hit a forehand then.
This man this year alone playing nothing for championships. Very nearly a double. Nadal saves, break point again for all.
Nadal, considering the fact that he was righty as a kid and switched to lefty, has done an incredible job of improving his serve. And it's been pretty hot here, and look at that sweat go flying.
Like those boxing photos
That's
at the
right.
point of contact.
He's one of the first tennis players we've seen out there that you think would do pretty well in the ring. And he's breathing a huge sigh of relief, having saved the break point there. And we've seen this thousands of times in that running forehand winner. This is certainly the side for either player to get the break to serve. A good chance for Nadal here.
By the way, Roger Federer has just come off his practice court. No doubt he wants to see the end of this match. And he's got a losing record. There he comes. He's got a losing record against Rafa Nadal. I think we all know that. But guess what? He's got a losing record against Andy Murray, too. They've played 3 times. Roger Federer has lost 2 of them.
Good luck tomorrow.
He, of course, has the extra day of rest because he finished up his semis yesterday against Novak Djokovic.
We'll have that final for you on Monday evening, early evening, for 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific time. This winner against Roger Federer.
And that's going to be streamed live.
CBS.
Yeah, so if the productivity level goes down around 5 o'clock in offices tomorrow, you can't be too surprised. Great finish to this championship, no matter who wins this one.
Murray, we haven't talked about how excellent a volleyer he is. And that will bode well for the future here and at Wimbledon. He's very comfortable. He's got those sweet, soft hands. And because he's stronger, he can power through the ball off the serve. He's had a good day serving. 65% for the match.
And on cue, an ace, his 21st, 5-4 in the 4th. And welcome back. Rafael Nadal serves to stay in the match at 4-5, down 2 sets to 1.
He's got that racket that he had restrung, hoping that there's still some winners left in it. He needs them now.
Kicks to the sideline.
Caught the line there, Dick. He could use a little luck getting to his first slam final, and this is a nice little stroke of luck here, right inside the line.
See the logo on the shirt of Murray. It's a Fred Perry line. Interesting. He sure that attire. Perry, the last breath to win Wimbledon 1936 and the U.S. Open, the last man to win the U.S. Open from Great Britain. And they've been looking, as Bud Collins said, where's the next Fred? It's been 8 decades. Is Murray the man? just the effort into the shot from Nadal compared to Murray, who just seems to be getting so much out of less physical exertion. Mixing it up.
You're right about that, Dick. It's a great point, but a testament to how hard Nadal works. That doesn't seem to wear him down very often. I mean, how often have you seen him physically tired? Have you ever? He's in incredible shape.
Well, that's 2 net cords. 2 points to Murray in this critical game.
Cat-like quickness out there from Murray, though.
30-all.
Right here, Nadal thought he had the point won. He clipped it there, and he allowed Murray a chance. And he's there in plenty of time.
2 points from the U.S. Open final. Andy Murray.
Legs get just a little bit heavy when you're so close to your first Grand Slam final. Didn't move well to that return.
Uncle Tony's been telling people, especially the Spanish press, how exhausted, in fact, that Rafa truly is. But boy, he's trying to leave every bit of it out there. Anything he's got left after this magnificent season.
What a point, and Murray prevails.
It's just an incredible strategic point from Murray. He's yanking Nadal side to side, and he's getting Nadal anxious to just out of his comfort level. Unbelievable shot making.
He's such a dynamic player. He's got all kinds of moves to him. But if he wins this match, wait till you hear this guy talk. He admits it himself. He says, I've got the world's dullest speaking voice.
Totally boring, he admits.
It's not how he plays, though.
No, no, no. Nadal has to dig for more.
You just don't get better points. Worthy of the world-class level of play we've witnessed here this afternoon.
You couldn't have put it any better, Dick. What a way to get the match point for Murray. Nadal, look, the first time I ever saw him lean over. Weary, it appeared.
Andy Murray, age 21. Braveheart, the Scottish Tiger, is 1 point from the U.S. Open final.
Can Nadal take it away from him? years since a British man has won a Grand Slam event. Fred Perry winning Wimbledon and the U.S. in 1936, and Andy Murray has a chance to be the world star tomorrow against Roger Federer as he ends this incredible Grand Slam run this summer of Rafael Nadal. 6-2, 7-6, 4-6, 6-4.
Well, you talk about an A+ execution of a game plan. That was Andy Murray today. And what a respectful round of applause for this great champion, Nadal. But it's Andy Murray who is in his first Grand Slam final.
In exhaustion and in defeat, Nadal still has the time to answer the requests of the young fans. 3 hours, 30 minutes of scintillating world-class tennis ends with Murray the winner. Skyscrapers in Manhattan reaching high into this late Sunday afternoon sky as Andy Murray has reached and accomplished a high for him, his first Grand Slam final, outplaying Rafael Nadal 6-2, 7-6, 6-4 in 3.5 hours. Mother Judy and family, girlfriend Kim Sears, coaches, that entourage of Murray celebrating all the hard work and support that goes into the development of a great young player. And at 21, he has dismissed the popular Mallorcan Rafael Nadal, and in disbelief, Andy Murray can now accept the realization he's going to play Roger Federer for the U.S. Open title tomorrow. Mary Jo.
Thanks, Dick. Andy, congratulations. Describe what you're feeling going into your first Grand Slam final.
Very relieved, you know, to come back after yesterday when I was 2 sets up. It's obviously tough to sleep on it, but yeah, so glad I came through in the end.
Fourth set, second game, a lot of chances. You don't break. How were you able to regroup and finish this set off?
It was tough, but you know, the atmosphere in here was unbelievable today. You know, you only got, only got a set and a half worth of tennis, and I thought they were unbelievable, and that really helped me through in the end. Even though I think they wanted to see a fifth set, it still helped.
You didn't let them, but talk about the New York crowd and how much you enjoy playing in New York.
Yeah, it's my favorite tournament. It has been since a junior. You know, it's just different. You know, I had the guys from Entourage, which is my favorite show, watching the other night, and then Will Ferrell, who's my favorite comedian, watching today. So it's awesome. You don't get that back home.
All right, let's look ahead to tomorrow, your first final. It's against Roger Federer. He's won the last 4 years. You have a good record against him. Thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, well, he's probably the greatest player ever, so, you know, to get the chance to play in a slam final is an honor. But I played it well against him in the past, and hopefully I can do the same again tomorrow.
Well, congratulations, Andy. Great effort. Andy Murray through his first Grand Slam final. Up to you, Dick.
All right, Mary Jo. Murray saying all the right things, and obviously from that great experience as a 17-year-old winning the U.S. Juniors title, this has been a special place for him, and now 4 years later has a chance to win the men's championship against Roger Federer. Well, they said that the women's final really was not tonight. It was on Wednesday night when Serena Williams played sister Venus Williams. Many thought the winner of that would win the championship. That may happen tonight as Serena Williams did prevail. Bill McAtee and Patrick McEnroe will give you a taste of that action when we come back.
The 21-year-old Scot in a Grand Slam final for the first time, a 4-set shocker against Rafael Nadal. And that sets the table for tomorrow's men's championship here on CBS. Roger Federer and Andy Murray, you can see it live here on CBS at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, and it will be streamed online at cbssports.com, as well as U.S. Open And the Women's Championship coming up in prime time tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Time here on CBS. Serena Williams looking to win her 3rd U.S. Open and 9th overall Grand Slam against Jelena Jankovic. Phil McAtee back with Patrick McEnroe, and you had a sense when Nadal came back, won that 3rd set, that maybe Murray would falter, but it didn't happen.
You know, we talked so much during this tournament about Murray's improved fitness physically, and that's been a big part of his rise now up to the top 4. But to me, it was exactly that, Bill. Mentally, he hung in there. Look, he really thoroughly outplayed Nadal throughout this match. Had tons of chances in the first couple of sets, then had a lot more chances early in that 4th set, as he talked about with Mary Jo on court. He weathered that when he didn't get the break. Nadal started to get some momentum, but he stayed focused throughout and really executed his game plan to a T. An outstanding performance by
And
Murray.
the last 2 points of the match really told the entire story.
I'll tell you, Murray, as my brother John talked about, had a great game plan, stepping back on the return to serve. And watch the way he stalks the baseline here. He takes some pace off some shots. He waits for his opportunity. Right there, he makes a little aggressive shot with the backhand. Again, that's a big one up the line. Then he steps into the court. Then he's got Nadal on the run throughout. And watch the way he keeps control. He keeps Nadal back. Again, he steps into the court. Improved fitness is a big part of why he's able to do this point after point. And then look, he comes in, and how easy is that volley? But it's all the hard work beforehand that set it up. Then match point, I mean, Nadal would never say no mas, but if this was as close as it comes, trying the drop shot here, I mean, I think Nadal had a great effort just to hang in there, because it was apparent to me yesterday when this match started that he was physically spent. Now, he's mentally so strong, so tough, that he was able to make it a match and very nearly take it to a 5th set, but Murray too tough.
Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic yesterday, and really for the first time during the U.S. Open these 2 weeks, he looked like the Federer of old.
Look at that. That's a new one. That new one from Federer there. The lob overhead winner from behind the baseline, and then he rips the forehand winner. I think in the 4th set, we saw some vintage Federer. He's had to dig deep in this tournament. He's had a 5-setter earlier. He wasn't playing his best tennis up until the semifinals. He served very well against Djokovic, and that got him through. But it's surprisingly, Murray is up 2-1. In fact, they played earlier this year in similar conditions, a relatively fast hard court. But here's the key, that last line there, Bill. Never met in a Grand Slam, and not just a Grand Slam, but a major championship final. So for Roger Federer, he's saying to himself, I've got a chance to salvage my year. I've got a chance to prove that I'm still a threat to get back to #1. And Murray, if he can handle the nerves, he can beat Federer. But that is a huge if in his first major final.
How important is it that he keeps those emotions in check like he did against Nadal?
Well, I think I'll keep him in check. I do, but I think if he's not overwhelmed by the occasion and rattled, and if Roger gets off to a good start, it could be a steamroll situation. But look, Federer has not played great tennis. He's been inconsistent in times. He looked real good against Djokovic, but Murray, I think, is not intimidated by the game of Federer. He knows he can play with him. Right. Will he be intimidated by the scene and the whole, the Monday night final, all that extra pressure? The Brits will be going crazy over there for him to be back for his first time in the final. So if he can handle that, he can definitely make it a match.
Well, to get you ready for the Women's Championship tonight, we're going to take a look back at the quarterfinal encounter between the Williams sisters here in New York. Back with more on CBS after this.